Hello. Have you ever thought about what went into making just about everything in your household? From the clock on your wall, to the plate you eat from, to the electronic device that you're viewing this from, everything was first imagined and then secondly put into the form of a document with the aid of drafting. We have all in some way, shape, or form benefited from the work of drafters, and there's one innovation in particular that has made the job 10 times easier and 10 times faster for us drafters, and that innovation is called computer-aided design, or CAD. It's relatively new, but drafting has been around for a millennium. I'm currently pursuing a degree in CAD, and I'm very passionate about the field. I love doing it, and that's why I'm trying to get my degree and get into the field. I've done a handful of research. The history of drafting and CAD is very interesting, and I'm glad that I'm here today to teach you about it. As I was saying before, drafting has had its roots back a millennium ago, and that is no lie. According to civil engineer Trevor English, the oldest draft ever discovered was of a Babylonian castle dating back to 2000 BC. Though rudimentary and basic, this draft showed an aerial view of the castle, but is the earliest dated documented draft that has been discovered anywhere. It wasn't until decades later, when math was added to the equation, were we able to make more complex drafts and drawings. In his Encyclopedia Britannica article, Drafting Graphics, Raymond A. Clifford describes in 1789, French mathematician Gaspard Monge published a book, Géométrie Descriptive, and this described complex geometries that hadn't been talked about previously, and also used orthographic projections, which is a common tactic that even drafters today use, whether you're drawing a draft or using a computer to create one. And if it wasn't for these beginnings, there's no telling where the drafting community would be now. As far as CAD goes, there are two debatable fathers of CAD, and these two people are Patrick Hanratty and Ivan Sutherland. In his article, Evolution of CAD, David Kahn describes in 1957, Hanratty was working at GE, and he created a programmable machine called Pronto, Program for Numerical Tooling Operation. This program allowed the user to plug in X and Y coordinates into a machine that would then cut out the material in a stock of metal. And it wasn't until 1962 when Sutherland produced a PhD thesis called Sketchpad, which involved a user drawing on a 9-inch CRT monitor with an interactive pen. And this let a person physically draft something like a picture onto a computer screen, making it one of the first digital copies of a draft. These couple beginning CAD programs did have faults, however. It required massive machines for the time to create them, so this limited the technology to major corporations and government facilities. And it wasn't until decades later that CAD finally hit the mainstream. The CAD industry hit the mainstream primarily because of a handful of companies, but none more so than Autodesk. In 1987, Autodesk made a software that was able to make 3D objects, which was different from any other CAD software at the time. But given the technology at the time, the program was still only available to select computers. Not every single machine that anyone had in their home was able to do this, so this limited it to medium to large companies deploying this technology. But in 1955, they released a software that could be put on just about any Windows computer. And this opened the door for any company looking to make drafts or hire drafters. And to this day, Autodesk is still making CAD software. If you go onto their website, they have a video showing. They have a video showing you all the new updates that they've made to their software just over the course of the past year. And one thing throughout this whole thing is clear. Drafting is on the rise, and the future for drafting seems very bright. Drafting has been around for as far as civilization can basically date back. And I believe that CAD is the future, and drafting will always be a part of our lives in some way. And I really want to make that clear, if anything, from this speech. No matter who you are, what you do, where you live, we have all in some way, shape, or form benefited from drafting, and in this modern day, we have all benefited from the use of computer-aided design or CAD. Thank you.